Welcome to the Oddity Shop, where the bizarre is always on sale.
Hey, welcome in, you oddballs. This is the Oddity Shop. I'm Kara, and this is Zach. This is the podcast where we
tell you weird, creepy, odd, paranormal, another random word that I usually throw in there, but I can't think of one, stories from around the world.
Yes, that's that.
How you be doing today?
I'm be doing good. Well, I spent 4.5 hours on my day off putting together a simulation race seat.
Oh, you got sucked into that?
Here's the thing. I actually didn't get sucked into it. I just willingly started helping because, listen, I wanted to play.
Okay, so tell everyone what it's for.
It's for Xbox or whatever video games. So you can play like F1 racing or whatever. But it's like a simulation wheel, and it makes you actually feel like it. And it actually is the kickback of if you were driving. There's actually a wheel that's up from what my husband got, and it actually you can break your wrists because it's that much of I'm not even kidding you. The kickback on it, the wheel will break your wrists if you are not.
How do they even sell that?
That's what I said. He didn't get that one.
Good.
Anyway, it's wild.
The last thing that man needs is broken wrists.
Right? But it is really cool. So I played that. I didn't even play. I just did like the practice round. But it actually was kind of funny because we put it all together. He played, not even played, he practiced and got into it probably for 5 minutes. And I was like, do you want to try? And I was like, yeah. And I played for like 20 minutes while he was like playing with Delilah. And I was like, why am I on this thing?
That's hilarious. I know he's been talking about that for a while. Good for him.
And then I wasted another like 3 hours of my life today working on my Halloween costume. What was in my head was a good thought.
Execution's not there?
Yeah, it wasn't good. So I gotta scrap it. I played with rubber snakes all day. I'm gonna say that, and I'm gonna leave it at that. I think I might have said it already on an episode of.
Yeah, you did. I just didn't listen.
So that was my day. Yours was.
Yeah, I just worked pretty much all day today. Let's see what else is new. Oh, I got Falltober days this weekend, the annual pumpkin patch day, and I'm super excited about that. Oh, cute. Nick's going to be able to come this year.
Cute.
Yeah. So
I just got back from my trip.
Oh, yeah. All right. Tell me about your trip.
No, my trip was like it was actually my favorite trip. We did a road trip. We went through Tennessee. We did a bunch of hiking. I saw so many bears, which everybody kept telling me that they've lived there or they've lived in the wilderness forever and they have not been able to see a bear as close as I did. And I saw 5.
You kept sending me bear pictures the whole time.
And videos. My brother was like super jealous because he's like, that's actually incredible. It was cool. That was one of my favorite parts. But then we went through Tennessee, blah, blah. And then we ended up in North Carolina to see my friend. And if you're a Wilmington, North Caroliner, I don't know what you guys are called, then your city is the most amazing city in everywhere because it is the home of One Tree Hill. And if you know me, you know I'm a One Tree Hill fanatic.
I think anybody who's listened to the last couple episodes.
Yeah. But I probably cried a couple times. I went to like 20-something stops. I could have went more. It was just incredible. I have so much stuff to post on my personal socials. Like I'm going to keep doing it. It was the best trip. I don't know how to explain it other than like, you're seeing, I didn't get to meet anybody from the show. But being in all the places that they actually were was absolutely incredible. And I thank my husband for enduring like an 8-hour day of him just like pulling up to addresses of random houses and taking pictures of them for me. So I really appreciate that. One of the little shops was almost like a little oddity shop that sold a bunch of their stuff. And it was actually a record store in the show. So when I went there, I got this really cool. Well, I bought a bunch of stuff from. Good thing Aaron walked out. I bought a bunch of One Tree Hill stuff there. But this caught my eye, and it was like one of those Mean Girls moments where you're like, I saw, what is it? I saw Katie Heron wearing army. Oh my God,
army pants. Yeah, so I bought army pants.
Dude, I biffed that so bad. Anyway, it was one of those things where it was like didn't see I heard John Tenney say that he wants to get back into palmistry and palm reading. And so I saw a palm reading set and I was like, I just want to start doing it because he wants to get back into it.
Oh my God.
And so I bought this deck.
Well, cute. You have to.
And that was that.
You have to read my palm next time. I've only had my palm read one time.
I never have.
I didn't like the results, so I've never had it again. Apparently, my lifeline is very, very short and fractured at the end, and it just makes me scared. So I haven't had anybody else touch it. We'll see if you come up with a different result.
All right. What do you? Well, we know what this is.
We know what this is, but so for anyone who didn't listen, I would stop this episode right here, go back to last week's, listen to the part 1. So Kara last week told us about the movie version of the Conjuring House story and how it's kind of, the story of it's been changed throughout pop culture, right? Through entertainers in the paranormal field who have kind of ran with the story of the movie. So this week, what we want to focus on is more the true story of what happens in the Conjuring House. Because I'm going to be honest, I didn't know any of this until we started to see Andrea speak and I started researching it, right? Like I just kind of subscribed to the movie.
Right.
But I do still have a question for you.
Oh.
Yes. Are you ready?
I was not expecting that.
That's okay. You just have to come up with an answer. It'll be fine.
Oh, God. The pressure.
Do you think it's just spirits that haunt a home, or can the house itself become something that actually either is haunting itself or attracts spirits?
The second option.
And why?
Well, if you actually listen to today's episode, which would have been the recap of Paracon, we did kind of talk about this, about homes sucking in all that stuff in a way better way.
It was Brian Cano talking about.
Yes. But also, and we kind of talked about this, it is your energy, right? Energy lingers. We know that. You can walk into any room and feel the energy that people are giving off, right? So if you're always having this negative energy every time you go into a place, right? All these people are thinking negative thoughts, negative feelings, things like that. You build and you get a tulpa, egregore, whatever you want to call it. That energy lingers. And I think it can sink into the walls of the home. And then that energy attracts more energy of the same concept.
Look at you for not even expecting a question. You nailed it. Good job.
Thanks.
Okay, so let's just get into it from there. Obviously, like we said, last week was pop culture. This week we're talking the true story, and then kind of want to touch on a little bit of what some of the researchers who are spending more time in the house are actually doing as well. So are you ready?
I am ready for the... I don't know what the word is, but I'm ready.
You're good. All right. So I want to quickly recap your recap of the movie last week. The 2-minute thing just for anyone who's been a week. Okay. So the Perron family moves into an old farmhouse, pretty much immediately start to experience a haunting, quickly ramps up, kills the family dog, starts bruising mom, terrorizes the family at night. They go and they beg the Warrens to come to the home. It only gets worse from there, right? So mom gets possessed by an evil spirit named Bathsheba, who lived on the property and killed her child. Everyone finds out that basically this spirit continues to possess all the moms who live on the property, makes them kill their kids. So Carolyn Perron in the movie tries to kill a couple of her kids. Ed decides to stop waiting for the church to do a exorcism, and he performs one himself. They save her life. Everyone lives happily ever after. And the whole movie really seems to take place. I mean, nobody ages, right? So maybe doesn't really give timelines, but let's give them a little bit of credit and say a year.
I was going to say, I don't even know if it was a year.
Yeah, no. I mean, it honestly feels like it could have been like 2 weeks.
Right. Yeah. It's a lot.
Okay.
It's a lot.
So the movie says based on a true story, and when we say that, it's very loosely based. Okay.
Loosely.
We've talked about the fact that we've already been able to see Andrea speak, and she was the oldest of the 5 daughters who lived in the house, and she, I mean, you can find countless interviews and documentaries and stuff. She paints a totally different picture of what the experiences were in the house.
And I do just want to add that she kissed Zach.
In case anybody hasn't heard her say the first time.
Every time we talk about her, I will say it.
I love her. Okay.
I do too.
I will say this. You can tell even when she's like saying that it didn't fit her story, she doesn't demean the movie totally.
No.
She's very happy that the movie brought attention to what her and her family went through. And maybe not attention's the right word, right? But brought awareness. Obviously, she's a little bit displeased that they didn't stay true to her story. So she had given them all the facts, the writers of the film. And she's quoted saying, "It's an excellent film for what it is. It's about 5% or 95% fiction and 5% hard truth."
Didn't she give them like her journals, like her diaries?
Yes, she did. Yeah.
Okay.
So she gave them a ton of stuff. Actually, perfect segue, because the movie, like we said, it focuses on one single spirit in the house named Bathsheba. She took the blame as the sole spirit in the home in the movie, and it's really not the case. So exactly what you just said, Andrea did give them all her journals and stuff. And when they didn't tell her story authentically, she actually took that and interviewed her family members and did this. And she comes up with an entire trilogy of books. Like each one is about 1,000 pages.
Which we know we need to read.
Which is called The House of Darkness, House of Light. We do need to read it. Yep. But she tells all the stories of what it was really, really like to live in the house. So we're going to keep this under an hour. There's 3,000 pages on this. I'm going to just try to give the biggest highlights that really explain the differences. So Carolyn, Roger, and their 5 daughters, they move into the very old Rhode Island farmhouse in January 1971, and they lived there for just short of 10 years. So they moved out in 1980. Just like in the movie, the paranormal stuff starts almost immediately, but very, very differently. They had purchased the home from a gentleman named Mr. Kenyon. So Mr. Kenyon and his wife lived there for 60 some odd years. She actually passed away a few years prior, and so Mr. Kenyon wasn't living in the home. So when they sold it, he went to grab the last of their belongings that were still there. Andrea, she's saying that on day one, right, they're unloading boxes while Mr. Kenyon is loading up china from the cabinet. So she walks in with a box. She passes him and says, "Hi, Mr. Kenyon," sets the box down on the table, goes to leave, and as she's crossing the formal dining room, she sees another gentleman standing there looking at Mr. Kenyon, and she says, "Hello, sir, good morning," and continues to walk away. She goes up to Carolyn, her mom, and asks who the man in the kitchen with Mr. Kenyon was, and she states that there's nobody else in the house.
Ugh.
So Andrea was confused, right? She said it looked like a flesh and blood man standing there.
Can you imagine?
No. Well, I mean, yeah, I could, because you think
you
that
can,
somebody's
but
just...
also, but like, what?
I mean, that could be one thing, right? She thought maybe her mom didn't see this man come in with him.
Yeah,
or whatever.
true.
A couple of the other sisters also saw this guy, except for Nancy. Nancy not only sees him, but as she turns to say something to him, he evaporates into thin air. Over the course of the next 10 years, they continue to see this guy all over the house. Christine, one of the daughters, actually named him Manny because he was a man who lived in the home.
Which I think that detail is so precious. Manny.
It's so cute. And we're going to come back to him later, so don't forget about Manny, all right?
Oh, I won't.
All right. It does kind of start to go crazier from there, right? So Cindy and Christine, they shared a room, and they would see, this one's heartbreaking, they would see a little girl walk through all the time who would be crying and holding a book in one hand and a handkerchief in the other.
Aww.
They always said she wasn't evil. She was just kind of more sad because she was always crying out looking for her mom.
Oh.
I know.
I have goosebumps. Those goddamn ghost children.
Yeah, you love your ghost children. I forgot about that.
I heard them.
There's a couple in here. And then we talked about this a little bit last week, right? But almost immediately, Cindy would constantly hear at night a multitude of voices, and they would all be repeating all at the same time, "There are 7 dead soldiers buried in the wall." Now, they've done scans of the wall, and there's no way, I mean, these are old walls, that there's anybody buried in there. But what they've started to think is there's this old back wall on the back side of the farm, and I think they've done some of that sonar scanning, and looks like what could be some graves under there.
Yeah.
So that's just a couple of the things they were experiencing, other than, the demonic.
Yeah.
So Andrea, she seems to be really the most outspoken of the family. And like I said, over the 10 years of living there, she said, some of us had terrible experiences, while, others of us had benevolent or even amazing experiences in this house.
Which is so, not to get too deep into it, but it's kind of just like life, right? Some people have unfortunate, really bad experiences in life, and some have really great ones. And it's like, why?
And, it almost seems like even with the same spirits, like they, you have good days, you have bad days. And so did all these things that were for some whatever reason in this old farmhouse. So like they all had like many experiences with I've heard it say up to dozens of different spirits and apparitions, some intelligent, others would be more residual, just like that little girl going back and forth on a loop. Some of them, it seemed like they would see the family and interact with them, or, touch them or pull on them while they were sleeping. That part from the movie is true.
Yeah.
Other times it would just be smells, or like I said, sometimes it would be like whatever beings these were interacting with other spirits, but couldn't necessarily see the family. It's just this whole wide range of things going on in there, right? So I'm not downplaying any of the traumatic events. There were some, and then obviously there's one really big night, which is the 5% of the truth of the movie, but we'll come back to that. So put a pin in that for now.
Put a pin in it.
Put a pin in it. Going back to Andrea, though, it's so wild. And here's kind of some of like what she was saying in this interview that I watched. She literally says it was a privilege to live in a home so alive with death, and a gift to be able to live amongst and communicate with the dead.
God, she's so incredible.
And she's a phenomenal speaker. Just look her up online. She's great. She's hilarious. My favorite line she said, though, is the home is a portal cleverly disguised as a farmhouse. And it's like, that makes so
I think that's like
sense.
Their slogan now for the Conjuring House.
And I kind of gave it some thought to figure out what exactly she could mean by that. Now, you have to know a little bit about Andrea. So she doesn't just believe in spirits. She believes in multidimensional beings, the galactic family, UFO. She's right there with you, Kara.
I was just going to say, she, me. I'm her.
Yep.
Oh, God, I wish I could be as close to as amazing as her.
So, it's like whatever has been created or opened here, she seems to think that the veil is thinner. They're closer to the other side. And something possibly even multidimensional is happening, where the past, present, future, the living and dead seem to intermingle like swirling smoke. She can paint a picture with words. Let's be real.
Gosh, she's just amazing.
Okay. So let's do a side-by-side. I'm going to pick specific parts from the movie, and we're going to talk about why the fuck they are so inaccurate, and give you what happened. First one, and this one is just for you. We all know in the beginning of the movie, the family dog dies.
And I was not okay with it.
You were not. I could not find any evidence that a dog died. Now, I have not read the trilogy, but I couldn't find any evidence of a family dog at all. So I think either it was unscathed or just didn't exist. Either way, no dead dog.
Did Dad read the first one, right?
He's reading it right now.
Reading it. Okay.
Yes.
We'll follow up.
Second, let's talk about the wardrobe in the movie. So that giant wardrobe that's in Andrea's room, right?
Creepy ass. That was apparently there when they moved in.
Right. And that's where Bathsheba seems to come out of. Most, other than the basement, right? That seems to be where the activity is kind of focused.
The hot spot.
Right. There was no wardrobe in Andrea's room at all.
Okay, good. Because I hated it.
What was there instead?
Oh no.
Is 10 times worse.
Oh no. It's a crawl space.
That kind of like a crawl space. So
you know
those half doors that lead to unfinished rooms and like attics? The house had one of those, and not only was this an unfinished space. I don't want to say unused. It was used. So in early colonial American homes, they had a room in the house called a bourning room. The bourning room was reserved for births, illnesses, and deaths. So with the home being obviously as old as it was.
Oh, okay.
And you couldn't really get to a hospital.
Yeah, I know exactly what room it is now from knowing what the real house looks like, I didn't realize that was off of her room.
That was off of her room.
My God.
So she would just hear, it's got one of those like heavy iron latches, and you could just hear it moving all night. In the Beyond the Grave documentary, they go in there. And so when you go in there too, right? Not only is it the unfinished space, but it's the old roof nails that are just sticking through the boards. It reminds me of like the Chokey from Matilda.
Oh, yeah. You know, that's a real miss on the actual Conjuring movie.
Yeah, because I think that would have been more terrifying.
Times scarier.
It's just less aesthetic because that wardrobe was such a thing, you know, if it was just a door.
Ugh.
But so like you were saying, like it was just a creepy area, right? Once again, in the Beyond the Grave documentary, the filmmaker goes in there, she goes, God, it just has such a bad energy in here. And Andrea looks right at the camera and goes, and that's what I slept with every night in this room.
Oh my God, I love that woman.
Love her. Okay, so then let's talk about, there's a few spirits, right? But there's like focus on one and maybe 4 spirits that they talk about total.
Mm-hmm.
I think we get Rory's name. His mom is basically nameless.
Mom doesn't really get a name. Bathsheba, obviously.
Right. So
Bathsheba, maybe and another mom that think that they killed somebody.
I think so.
It's.
I mean, we already talked about the fact that there's a ton in there, right? Carolyn would like regularly interact with or see people sitting in the dining room. Andrea once saw a literal ghost version of herself wearing pioneer clothing.
Wow.
I mean, the entire family over 10 years said they became almost acquainted with more than a dozen spirits that they saw on a regular basis.
That's incredible.
It's honestly,
it's something.
It's wild. I mean, over like every day they're having experiences. All right, so let's talk about the little boy, Rory. Rory is probably one of the most true parts of it.
Oh, I don't know if I like that.
Yes and no. I mean, okay. April, the youngest, right?
Yep.
So she did actually befriend a spirit. She didn't see him in a creepy music box. She didn't have to look through.
Okay, good, because I hated that fucking box.
A mirror. But there was a little boy who lived in her closet that she called her secret friend. And his name, he told her,
he's not really a
Oliver.
secret if you call him a secret friend. Or she didn't tell anybody.
She didn't tell anybody for a long time. And she especially didn't tell the Warrens. So she told her family after the Warrens left because she had befriended him.
What a smart little child.
Exactly. She thought that if she told them that he would make her, or they would make him go away.
I have goosebumps. Oh.
It's a little bit sad when they were leaving the house. I guess April told him, you know, he was invited to come with him, and he said, we're all trapped here.
I'm crying.
I can literally see it in your eyes.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Oliver.
I know. Why in the movie did they call him Rory? Why couldn't they just call him Oliver?
That's so sad.
I wish you guys could see her. Kara is actually honestly crying right now.
Because I'm thinking of a little, what? Like, she was so cute to be like, I'm not going to tell the Warrens. Like, to have the wherewithal to be like, I'm not telling y'all about my friend Oliver.
Oh my God.
Oliver. Oh. Anyway. I'm wrecked.
Okay. Let's get to the 2 big ones now. Let's talk about Bathsheba. So in the movie, it was said that Bathsheba, God, why am I blanking on her last name right now?
Sherman,
right, was this satanic witch who lived in the house. She sacrificed her kids, killed herself by hanging herself from the tree, right? Okay.
She didn't even sacrifice her kids. She sacrificed like her newborn baby.
Right.
God. Allegedly. In the movie.
Even the history that Andrea could find, it seems the townspeople do believe in this woman who was tried of being a witch, or not tried of being a witch, tried for murder but was acquitted, or the charges were dropped. That they thought she might have been a witch, but she actually never lived in the home. She lived near the property, possibly bordering on the farm.
And that's the dumbest part.
Right. Now, the Warrens did really come to investigate the house, right? And Lorraine Warren did, you know, she's a medium, so she did intuit a spirit named Bathsheba. Somehow, though, you know, Lorraine immediately jumps to the fact that Bathsheba is the one who's, so there were evil spirits. We've talked about that. But she was the one who's doing everything in the house, and she was feeding off people and blah, 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 blah. Okay, so immediate Warren style, we found the demon, right? Just because the name came to Lorraine. And it did seem like, that there were a couple of spirits who were kind of more focused on Carolyn. Now, the Perrons, like I said, they did a ton of research on their own. Over the history they could find, they did find more than a dozen people who died or took their own life in the house, but they never found any record of any Bathsheba in the house.
Oh, that's interesting, though. I guess I didn't realize that there was that. Wow.
So you say wow now, but in a few minutes we're going to talk about the history of the home and how old it actually is, and that number seems low.
Oh, I do know how old the house is, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you feel the most powerful and beautiful with the elements of the earth around you? Do you like one-of-a-kind jewelry? Do you sometimes feel like a woodland fairy? Me too. That's why I created Holly and Hemlock, a magical shop filled with handmade wooden jewelry and metaphysical tools. Come check out our enchanting wooden wares at www.hollyhemlock.com and join us in honoring the magic and beauty of nature with each unique creation. That's www.hollyhemlock.com.
While a lot of people did die in the home, no record of any Bathsheba living there. But, like I said earlier, she did live near the property. Now, with the house being a portal or whatever it actually is, right? Mm-hmm. The Perrons do believe that Bathsheba is there now. However, because she does come up so much in investigations. Now, it could be explained a couple different ways, right? First of all, nobody believes she is evil.
Okay.
Andrea actually defends her, saying she wishes and thinks it's her mission to prove her innocence. And that might be why she's at the house now. Or kind of what you were saying earlier, where everyone's put so much energy of Bathsheba into it in the house that it is like a tulpa now.
Yeah, I mean, it does make sense. And also, it's like, if these people keep calling me, I'm going to come.
So for the real life fact, they think the evil spirit might be the spirit of Mrs. Arnold.
She sounds like a beach.
Mrs. Arnold, here's more of your 5%. Her husband died in a way that he probably shouldn't have died. She became very upset by this and possibly hung herself in the barn.
Not the tree.
Not the tree, in the barn. And this was told to the family by a local historian.
Okay. Wow.
Already we've uncovered a lot of differences. Are you ready for the biggest one at all?
I'm trying to think of everything else that happened in the movie that you're gonna like.
What's the big thing that happens? The end of the movie.
Oh, the possession.
Ed Warren doing a exorcism after Carolyn got possessed, right?
So ridiculous. Yeah.
Ed Warren in his life never did, nor would he try to do an exorcism. While he was a demonologist and not ordained, he was trained to assist.
Right. That's a big difference.
And you and me, we've talked about the Warrens so much. We have respect for them for what they've done for the paranormal. Their methods may not have always been the greatest, but I do think he would have absolutely drawn the line. Well, I mean, there's no record of him ever doing an exorcism, so I don't think he would have ever truly done it, even if he was in the position the movie made it seem. The Warrens actually came to the house 6 times total. And it was on the second or third time that
it's like
Lorraine...
not even a lot.
No. And Lorraine kind of intuited this Bathsheba. And funny enough, they would really only come if Roger wasn't around, because Roger kind of thought they were, full of it, basically. What the Warrens did do, instead of an exorcism, was they brought a medium to the home to perform a seance.
Okay.
Now... as the Perrons have said, they don't feel like this medium who was brought in was as skilled as she should have been.
Oh,
and think that she is actually to blame for some of the evil spirits that are in the house. So the night of the seance, Carolyn's chair did levitate.
Okay.
However, we're not in the basement. They were in the formal dining room looking into the living room. And, okay, a couple things. The parent or the Warrens, as soon as they would think something was demonic, right, they became very provocative of trying to get it to show itself, right? So now you have them in their provoking spirit. You have a medium who might not know exactly what she's doing, and this riled up the house.
I'm sorry. Do you know how many years at this point they'd been living at the house?
It was a couple years. So
okay.
What I didn't say, and I think you touched on it actually, is they had brought other investigators into the home.
They have,
and one of those investigators is actually who brought in the Warrens. So it was never Carolyn going and finding them and begging them to come over.
No.
Okay.
No.
This spirit that was conjured up by the medium did attack Carolyn. She did not become possessed. Okay. Her chair levitated. She was picked up and thrown from the dining room,
goosebumps,
clear across the living room, face first down into the floor. So Andrea actually claims that she secretly watched the seance from the top of the stairs.
I bet she did.
Oh, I know she did. And this is kind of, one of those traumatic things.
Yeah.
She was convinced that she saw her mom die that night.
Oh,
like
honey.
that. She was thrown and hit the ground so hard. So Carolyn was concussed. And after this experience, Roger kicked the Warrens out of the home and basically told them never to come back, right?
Never come back, yep.
Carolyn took a very, very long time to recover from this, where she was just in physical pain and drained and, concussion. Like
hello, yeah. Wow.
The true story that most people seem to believe, right, is that this medium opened a door she couldn't close and invited some negativity into the house.
Or I guess didn't have the opportunity to close because they were all kind of kicked out, right? I mean, either way.
I probably would have done the same thing too. Let's be for real.
I mean, no, I don't necessarily disagree with Roger, but I guess knowing what we know, even our conversations, we need to close out.
Yes.
So yes, I don't blame him in any way. But you don't know, and you just witnessed that. I can't even imagine.
There's no way you're thinking straight.
Absolutely not. I'd kill everybody.
Now, they did live in the house for years after that. And
I was gonna say, but they lived in the house for years before, and nothing like that happened. So yes, I would also kick them out because what the hell did y'all just do?
Now that's not to say that there were other terrible events, right? But nothing to like that extent, right?
Holy crap.
So I think, right, to really understand why there might be so much activity in the house, you have to go way back. So
bring it to me, baby.
Obviously, we call it the Conjuring House, but its official name is the Old Arnold Estate. Remember Mrs. Arnold?
Yes, Mrs. Arnold.
House is located in Harrisville, Rhode Island. It was completed in 1736.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the Declaration of fucking Independence was signed in 1776. This house is...
It's old.
Older than America.
Isn't that wild when you think of it? Holy
so crazy.
I'd be haunted too.
And then, as every legend in the United States goes, the land was old Indian grounds. Okay.
It all is.
It all is. The first owners that we can really find record of were the Richardsons, and of owning the land, right? And the house was the property was deeded to them in 1680. They were, to keep it really short, they had different religious views of most of that area. So they bought this giant plot of land where, as they would convert people, they would then parcel off sections of it to sell to people with similar beliefs as them to build their own community.
Okay. Is this a cult?
No, it's
the way you just said it was like it's a cult.
Back then, the Puritans and all that, there's so many different kind of little sects, and I don't understand it, but I mean, kind of cult. I guess all religions can. No, that's a can of worms I'm not going to get into right now. Anyway, so deeded in 1680, but the Richardsons, as far as we can tell, are the ones who do build the house 56 years later. Now, there's a lot of missing record here because the Richardsons had a long line of daughters, and daughters couldn't own property, so there's not a lot of deeds. Yeah. We do know that at least 8 generations of Richardsons lived in the house.
Okay.
The next owners were the Arnold family, and this is probably where some of the bigger hauntings started. Mrs. Arnold very likely is an evil spirit that lives in the house. So her husband was drinking this concoction it was some sort of horse medicine, but I think it was getting him a little bit. And he passed away in the attic.
Wait, for what reason was he drinking this?
I don't know, but he died of internal bleeding. Probably because he lived in the 1700s. What else? Oh.
You were so gay in that moment. What else?
What else are you going to do?
Yeah, but if you could have seen... If you could have seen your hand gesture and your face, what else?
Then, there's the story, like we talked earlier, that Mrs. Arnold hung herself in the barn, and she's now supposedly the evil spirit who curses anybody who comes to live in her family.
Okay, was he actually drinking this, or was she poisoning him with this? I'm sorry, but
we don't. There's not clear history. Okay.
Who? Okay.
But it sounds like she was upset about his death and then took her own life. So I don't know.
Okay.
From the Arnolds, it went to the Butterworth family.
Butterworth.
Then the Kenyons, who lived there for the 60 years, and then obviously to our friends, the Perrons. And you were 100% correct when you were talking about it, except it wasn't the neighbors that told the Perrons the Kenyons left the lights on all night for those 60 years. It was actually Mr. Kenyon who said, for the sake of the children, leave the lights on.
Oh, you know what? I did hear that as well, though I read either way. So, so it was.
And that's the thing with a lot of this is there's so much conjecture.
Yeah, there really is. So he basically, after selling the house or after whatever, was just like, keep the lights on?
Yeah, when he was helping transfer it over. Because even after his wife passed, he stopped living in the house. His son actually built a small house that he lived in.
But he never gave any more context than that.
That's all I have.
Wow. Isn't that...
There very well could be. Like I said, I haven't read the trilogy yet. And
no, I know.
There's only so much we could fit in an hour.
No,
here.
I just meant like through your research. No,
right.
That's wild. Okay.
Okay, so after that, though, there were two other families who lived in the house. Couldn't find much on them before it was bought by the Heinzens, who turned it into, a paranormal business.
Mm.
But there's no doubt about the fact that this house, for, hundreds and hundreds of years, has seen its fair share of death, tragedy.
Well, something.
And I think, being an original colonial home and on Indian grounds, like it very well, all of that combined could go to make it what it is. Or God only knows. I mean, there could be elemental forces at work here or other things with these portals.
Yeah.
It's just
everything. There's
so much to unpack here. No wonder they couldn't put it all in the movie, but they could have put a little more in.
They could have just did better.
Right.
That's fine.
The movie, though, it's super popular, right? The house got popular after that. You touched on that. Then we have the Heinzens running it. So now you have thousands of people coming through the house, right?
Yep.
And everyone's going in with this idea of what was told to them in the movie, because it says based on a true story. So then they all go looking for evidence that supports preconceived notions.
Mm-hmm.
That's where they amp it up. It's their jobs. We said that. It's the entertainment value.
Yeah, we get it.
But that's what you're seeing, right, on TV or on YouTube or on those things. And totally get it. You have to entertain if you're going to be an entertainer. But I think at the same time, it's really, really important to look at the people who are spending a lot of time there and kind of researching behind the scenes, because I think their experiences are truly, truly interesting as well. So let's get to the current owner, Jacqueline Nunez. She is so sweet. She's like this
cute as hell,
literal spiritualist. She's all into the metaphysical. She's had a ton of experiences in her own life, and she bought it in 22. Mm-hmm. Now, she does continue to run the business that allows the public to come in and investigate. You can actually go, you've heard glamping, right?
Yep.
You can go gamping there.
Camping.
Ghost camping on the farm. You can rent out the house. You can go, they have all sorts of events there, so you can go and learn about it. But the difference between her and the Heinzens,
I was gonna say there's a difference,
and I don't know the Heinzens. Andrea talks highly of them, but from what I've watched, the difference comes really down to a respect, right?
Yep.
You said it pretty good that the Heinzens would come in and say, hey, provoke the spirits, get the experience of whatnot.
Rile it up.
Jacqueline, instead, she wants people to learn, right?
Learn.
Her whole thing is come here and you will have an experience. You don't need to provoke. And she set up a team of highly qualified caretakers who all spend 2 weeks at a time living in the house to continue to teach, learn about the house, do this research. She has mediums who are staying there. She has actually the daughter of Corey Heinzen. She works there as one of the caretakers. And then we've got, you know who we got. Satori Hawes.
Satori.
And Cody, I'm so sorry. I'm probably going to murder his last name. Dabians is how I think it is. I could be wrong, and I'm so sorry if I am.
Here's the thing. So they're the cutest
human beings ever.
And
hold on, it's not the little couple. Their website is the Paranormal Couple.
It pains me to post a picture of us with them because they're so goddamn cute and we
so
just looked like
cute.
fools. She's gorgeous. Just little treasure.
She is the daughter of Jason Hawes, Ghost Hunters. I mean, the guy who started all of the TV, right? And Cody was actually, so Satori's joined Ghost Hunters now as she's gotten older. She's on a lot of the episodes. And she meets Cody there on Ghost Hunters, and now they are dating. They're like they're starting a paranormal museum. They are caretakers of the Conjuring House.
Cute.
They have also discovered they have a gift. Oh yeah, they do have respect. But they have this insane gift. Have you ever actually watched it?
No, I need to, because I heard them talk about it, and then yeah.
I watched an episode of Ghost Hunters. I can't. I'll try to find the episode for you where they did it, but it's insane. So they're not really able to fully explain what happens either. But Cody and Satori have found that they have a gift to communicate with spirits in a way that is so shocking. Basically, what they do is they almost get into a meditative headspace, and they hold each other's either hands or kind of like grab each other by the forearms and stand in a circle looking at each other. And they'll start to, just like you would with like an EVP or a spirit box session, start to ask spirit questions. And then what they'll kind of take turns doing is saying the alphabet. So A, B, C, D, E. And then there's knocks that start to happen. And it's only when they are holding each, and you can see them holding each other's hands, and you can see their feet.
It reminds me of the Bell Witch.
Yeah, communicating through knocks. But what happens, so they'll ask a question, they'll hit, A, B, C, D, and then knock, so somebody writes down a D. They continue to do this, and they found that they're getting these super intelligent responses. So at one point,
it's incredible.
It's really incredible. So they're doing this in the Conjuring House. I said they live there a couple weeks at a time, and they're getting some really good responses. And this name just keeps coming up over and over. This Joe, and nobody could figure out who he was. Somebody thought maybe it was short for Mr. Arnold, because I think his name was Joseph or something. But that didn't seem to be fitting. I literally have chills saying this. So they got a message one day when they were trying to ask Joe who he was. It spelled out the words, "Christine used to call me Manny."
I just got full body chills, but I do remember hearing this.
Yeah.
And I literally, my whole entire body is chills. Just, holy fucking shit.
Oh,
I'm going to cry right now.
I mean, Angela cries when she says that. But that to me is just, so you have people like that now who are really trying to dig in and figure out what the hell is going on here. We've talked about the pop culture. You got the witch demon Bathsheba. There's so much more going on. Andrea nails it. It's a portal cleverly described or disguised. I did that on the last episode too. Portal cleverly disguised as a farm. So I did see, and kind of before we discuss a little bit, right? A couple of interesting quotes from Andrea. One of the quotes she had is, with the house acting like a portal, everyone who goes into the home has a completely different experience. Some have good times, some have bad. Some interact with the same spirits my family did, while others experience their own family members or others they know who have passed. This happens to people who are not connected at all with the farmhouse, and it could be due just to the veil being thinner where it was built. One of the other ones too. So this goes out to the paranormal as a whole, right? She said there's a scientific explanation for what happened. We just simply haven't discovered the science yet. She goes, all of what paranormal investigators do is pseudoscience. But remember, every piece of science was called pseudoscience until we were able to explain it. So, but I love that. And I think it's so important to keep it in mind for the entire paranormal field as a whole, right? Is so many of the entertainers or the pop cultures or the people who are doing it for clout come out and say, I'm the expert and this is exactly what's happening here. And this is what's happening here,
No.
But you can never fully subscribe to one investigator you see on YouTube or TV or hear talk, right? Because nobody can truly explain. We're all just giving our best guesses to what is happening here. So kind of want to leave it to everyone to do your own research, form your own opinions, and always keep learning, because at the end of the day, none of us know what the hell is going on the other side at all. And we're just doing our best to try to give it an explanation.
I think it's kind of like what I was saying earlier at the top of the episode, that like everybody in life has a different, if you were, okay, if I were to walk up to you and you just got dropped here and you were to be like, hey, explain life to me, what the fuck would you say?
You wouldn't even know where to start.
Well, but your perception and your idea of life is going to be completely different than literally everybody else that says what life is to them. So I think it's the same way. And I don't even mean life as in life and death. That's just like I don't mean it that way. I'm just saying we can't even fucking figure out life.
I mean, the meaning of life is literally like the oldest philosophical.
Right. So how the hell are there's no expert on life. Is there?
And to go further from that, there's no expert on death.
That's what my point is that you cannot say that you figured it out. You can't say that you're an expert. I mean, yes, you could have expertise in certain areas. I will not take that away from anybody. And you have further knowledge than others. But I don't think there's an expert in life.
No.
Is there? Let me look it up.
I mean, I'm sure there's people who claim to be, but
I've never heard of it, right? So then I don't think there could be an expert in death.
No, absolutely not. That's
my thoughts.
We haven't discovered enough. I think now between all the equipment people are using, right, we're getting more evidence than we've ever had before, but it's not enough to explain what's going on. So I'm excited to see what comes out of the Conjuring House over the next couple of years now that Nunez owns it. I am really excited for us to go there because, Kara, I don't care what your thoughts are. It is now on our bucket list. I mean, it already was, but it's...
Here's the deal. I only want to stay on the 2 weeks that Satori is going to be there.
I know.
How do we figure that out?
You know, honestly, looking at the stuff online, too, all the other caretakers seem just as amazing as well.
I know, but I want to hang out with Satori.
I know.
She's so cute.
Anything else you wanna add to it? Because I got one last Andrea quote to wrap it all up, so you let me know when you're ready.
Here's just, and I think I said this in the last episode, or what we've said it, I don't even know. She is so incredible that she is thankful that she experienced this. And listen, yes, has she profited off of it in a way? She has. But I don't think she's profited it off of a way where she has like ill intents about it. I think that she is just giving out her thoughts and her experience, and she really genuinely wants people to learn.
So here's the thing. Before the movie, she never tried to profit off of it.
Yeah.
Right? So she wrote this trilogy they were afraid for years and years how they would be taken in their community.
Perceived.
Exactly. Yeah. As, you know, paranormal stuff started to get more popular, that's where they started to have the idea of telling their story. And I couldn't find exactly how it got from them to the movie, but obviously they were telling a few people. And when that came out, the family kind of decided, you know what, the movie is great for what it is, but it's not our story. And that's where Andrea, she's literally said, from the minute she walked into the house, it felt not only like home, but destiny. And that she thinks she was chosen to be the one to tell the story. So I don't think she's doing it to profit by any means. I think she's doing it because she felt a draw and a connection to the house and the spirits. And it's her mission to bring light to what is going on in this particular part of the world.
Well, and that's what I mean. Like, I think it's incredible. I think she's incredible. I think that her views on things, and even taking bad experiences that she had, like seeing her mom thinking that she died and things like that, and taking those and still wanting to try to educate people and to not have people be so frightened. And she doesn't speak like everything is demonic and it's like, oh my God. And it's like, I just think that's incredible. So I would love to hear your last quote from the Queen, Andrea.
You set it up perfectly. It's short, it's sweet. She says, we have to have a respect for the spirits. We lived with them, but it was their house first.
I love her.
So that is
good job.
The very short and condensed version of the real story of the Conjuring House. I mean, when you look at it that way, there's so much more. Oh my God, we got to go. We have to go there.
Satori, tell me when you'll be there.
If you ever run across this episode, you must tell us. You are obligated.
Oh my God.
All right.
Okay. Do you have anything else to close out on that?
My only thing is if you've never gotten to experience, go on YouTube right now, look up Andrea Perron, and just listen to her talk about it. She incredible public speaker.
Look at our reel of her kissing Zach.
Oh, yes. Is it a reel or a post? Because the reel will be gone. But
no. That's a story. A reel's there, honey.
And this is
It's
why
okay.
Kara does the social media, because I don't understand how the Instagram works.
There is a beautiful reel of me just dying at you getting kissed by her. And then she's like, pictures.
So here's the thing. I love that you do the social media, and I've hit that age in my life where I'm now going to start calling it the Instagram, the Facebook, just so you know where I'm at. I'm not on the Instagram. I mean, I just learned how to post a story to there, and it also posts to my Facebook, but I thought Reels and Stories were the same thing, so oops.
No, it's okay. Stories go away in 24 hours.
All right.
You so much.
I love you too.
Yeah, actually, you also, okay, really quick, because this is cute. Somebody today posted a post of us, and Zach thought that it was a story. And I was like, no, it's a post. He's like, wait, what's the difference between a post? A post is on their page forever. And he's like, wait, we're on their page forever tagged? And yes, we are. And then he freaked out because this had happened hours prior.
Right.
And he thought he freaked out only because we were on a story. And then he re-freaked out because he realized.
Well, because you said they reposted it. So I'm like, okay, so that goes away. I don't know how it works. Okay.
It's cute. Love you.
Okay.
Okay. So with all that being said, talk to me on our socials. I really appreciate it. Zach has no idea what's going on. I usually screenshot cute stuff, send it to him via text, and then we go on our merry way. We appreciate it.
True.
Please, for our new listeners, we appreciate you. We hope you come back. If you could please give us 5 stars.
Yes, give us some ratings, reviews.
Give us some ratings. We really appreciate it.
We also have the segment, the Paranormal Postcards, where we read your creepy paranormal stories back to all of us.
So we'd love some of those.
Or not even paranormal, just any oddity.
Any story.
Yeah,
I don't
we're
really
here
give
for
a shit.
Odd shit that's happened to
If you got
Tell
kicked by a
me.
grandma, I'd like to know about it.
What? Where did that even come? Okay.
I don't know. I have no idea, but if you got
We're
kicked
now
by
fully
a grandma,
expecting a grandma kick story.
So that's that. And we appreciate you. We love you. But most importantly, creep it real, you oddballs.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Oddity Shop.